All right, everyone, what's going on? We got another, well, I should say we got a new stream today. We're going to be reading some Zatch Bell. I've never read it. I started it recently. I want to talk about Zatch Bell because it's really weird. And, you know, a lot of people are reading Zatch Bell. There's Zatch Bell 2 now. I want to hear what people think about that. And before we get into that, I want to read Dandadan. I've already read the chapter. I just want to share my thoughts real quick. We got Eden's in the chat. Eden's, you've definitely told me about Zatch Bell before. But like nobody really told me about it. Like I've seen people talking about it. I know Zatch Bell 2 is what, it's like 2 years old now. But like nobody told me anything specific about it, which is good because I'm going in fresh. Like I have no idea what the series is about or where the story goes. All I know is there's a sequel. Is the sequel ongoing? Like, does anybody know when part 2 might end? I think this year makes 3 years, so we're close. Yeah, I would imagine it's probably got like 2 more years max. I would think. The sequel is monthly. That's different then. Well, how long? The original series was like 330 chapters, 325 chapters. This one's monthly, so I would guess like maybe 100 chapters for part 2-ish. It's still in the process of getting a bunch of the old characters back together. Ooh, so probably longer. Okay. So, which magazine is it published in? Excuse me. We got Gamer Chan Leanne in the chat. What's going on, Leanne? Pleasure to have you as always. Got Caligenus, pardon me, scientist. It's still ongoing, but there's no immediate ending announced. The original was Weekly Shonen Sunday. I just don't know where. Well, let's look. Zatch Bell. Okay, so the original, of course, was published in Weekly Shonen Sunday. Premise, manga. Began its digital publication on various digital book services in February 2022. So we don't know then? So it's not even getting print, it's just purely online. Fair enough. Anyway, we got Josh Coplin in the chat. What's going on, Josh? Also, happy Easter, everybody. I hope you all, to everybody who celebrates, I hope you had a great Sunday yesterday. And if you don't celebrate, I hope you had a great weekend. let's talk about Dandadan real quick. I already read the chapter, so I'm not going to react. I just want to share my thoughts and then quickly talk about the chapter before we get into Zatch Bell. So recap from last week. We beat the gym teacher. That was a while ago. We beat the duo. We beat the alien lady. Well, we beat the bully who had like the wheel power. And then when he got beat, the alien lady, she just pieced out, right? So now we're cutting back to the teacher who has the like zombie ability. She's meeting up over text with Saint Germain, or an ally of Saint Germain. Saint Germain calls her on the phone, basically says like, yeah, you goofed up. Not only did you not take the power the right way, you didn't go after the target that I told you to go after. Which it does. This was a good chapter because it clarified. I was confused. Like, is Saint Germain inciting some sort of battle royale, or is this just purely confusing? And it seemed like it was just purely confusion because they both had different targets. The Zatch Bell sequel is in Shogakukan magazine. So, let me see. Yeah, Shogakukan is a publisher, but which magazine is it? Like, they have Weekly Shonen Sunday. That's a magazine. Anyway, Dandadan. So he's about to murder the teacher, but then the officer that we obviously know, Ouji's foster dad, comes, splits things up. We see that Saint Germain has already put the fairy tale card to use. Saint Germain seems to possess the teacher, subdues the cop, subdues the teacher. He looks up. The Saint Germain dummy escaped. Obviously, this is an L for him. I would imagine, if not next chapter, then at some point in this arc, we're going to question this teacher and find out more about Saint Germain. And then the later end of the chapter is basically just talking about Momo addressing the fact that she's getting smaller and smaller and more unnoticeable. So there is a bit of a time constraint on this current arc. So overall, it was an okay chapter. It was like 6 out of 10. Obviously, it wasn't action-packed. It was a lot of exposition and dialogue. We did find out that the teacher seems to be like a morally redeemable character, that she's only doing this to save her mother. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Solid Dandadan chapter. Curious to see how this arc evolves next week. So that was Dandadan. Now I want to talk about Zatch Bell. So I'm 1 volume into Zatch Bell. For context, never read it before, never seen the anime, never even looked at the manga. I have no idea what happens in the story. All I knew was everyone has like these doll looking characters, and that's it, right? And I knew it was in like the 2000s because it's what, 2001 to 2007. Zatch Bell, original around 2001 to 2007. Yeah, so like 6 or 7 years. 6.5. No. 6 or 7. So it had a nice run. I have no idea if the ending got rushed or anything like that. What's going on, Andre Partridge? Pleasure to have you. Good to see you again. So yeah, Zatch Bell, I know people like it. It's kind of like a Shaman King, where it had its run in the 2000s, and now people do talk about it, but you rarely see it mentioned as like, you know, one of the greats, right? Like people say they like it, but it's not like a Dragon Ball, a Bleach, a Naruto, anything like that. That's because everyone only talks about the new stuff. That's not true. People talk about old Naruto all the time. People talk about God. What's the I'm a fake anime fan right now. People talk about old anime and manga all the time. That being said, you bring up a good point. The frame of reference for like what's old manga is very skewed. Like people will call 2000s manga old manga, which is crazy, right? And people will even, I'd love to do, maybe we'll do it Thursday now that I talk about it. Kind of talking about like what's really old manga, because Dragon Ball was 80s, 90s into very early 2000s, I believe. Might have ended late 90s, right? A lot of people grew up with like Yu Yu Hakusho and like 90s manga. So, for example, if you call Dragon Ball, I guess it would depend on if you call Dragon Ball an old manga. Because again, that's like an 80s manga. You have Fist of the North Star coming out at the same time, right? Fist of the North Star, you tend to want to call an old manga. But again, it's like, that's Dragon Ball era. So if you call Fist of the North Star old, you kind of have to call Dragon Ball old. Like, what's old manga? There's definitely older manga, right? 80s manga definitely have a different vibe than like 2000s manga, for sure. I don't really have an answer to this. I just think it's interesting to talk about. Like when people get into the whole current gen and new gen thing. We got Oscar L in the chat. What's going on, Oscar? Hope you had a happy Easter and a great weekend. People mostly talk about the big three. I've never heard someone talk about Air Gear or Chrono Crusade. I've never even heard about Chrono Crusade. I know people like Air Gear. I know people really like Air Gear. People talk about Yu Yu Hakusho and it's old. Yeah, so again, it's like, yeah, I feel like when people talk about old, they almost conflate age with relevance. Excuse me. Saint Seiya came out before Dragon Ball. That was, when was Saint Seiya? Excuse me. Saint Seiya 1985 to 1990. Really? When was Dragon Ball? Dragon Ball 1986. That is barely before Dragon Ball. That is like the exact same time. 1985 and 1986. That's like same gen. People are so stupid. I just caught up on episode 3 of Lazarus and found out that people are hating on the title. Problem is that it's an anime from Wanatabe, who just always had characters like that. Well, isn't Lazarus also like an older series and they're just remaking it? I feel like Lazarus has not really had a good start. That and the beginning after the end are not doing so well. I love Chrono Crusade. Watched that in the early YouTube days. I've never heard of it. Anyway, I've been yapping for a bit. So that's, I just wanted to set the stage for Zatch Bell. I haven't really read it. You don't really see people talk about it. So it's a bit like Shaman King. It had its run. A lot of people read it back in the day, and now it's kind of just like, it's around. That being said, it's not like mainstream or anything like that, but it seems like a lot of people under the radar are following the sequel, and people seem to really like it. You've got Eden's in the chat, obviously, who's always excited about it. I haven't really seen anyone say anything bad about Zatch Bell. So I'm curious to see how this story lives up to expectations, because honestly, I would like to see it be better than Shaman King, because this story and Shaman King feel very similar. They're both like early. Shaman King was a bit older. It started in 98, 99, something like that. So they did start a few years apart, but they feel like they could have been side by side in Shonen Jump. I mean, both very stylized, both heavily emphasize like superpower action in like duos, right? They have like the spin on stands, basically. So yeah. And it's also like comedy action like Shaman King. It's a very, it feels like a lighthearted series like Shaman King. Plus the main character, he's like, I wouldn't say he's laid back, but he's like a smarter character. He's like, not like a meathead, right? What do I think is the best weekly Shonen Jump manga right now? If we're not talking about One Piece, I would probably say it's between Kagurabachi or Ichi the Witch. Face revealed? It's me. Laxus Mar is another OG. I've never even heard of that. Oh, Mar. Sorry. Now I see what you mean. I thought you looked like your profile pic. Nah, man. I used to. At one point. That's why I updated my profile picture. I need to update the UI of the layout, or the stream layout. Anyway, so I've set the context for Zatch Bell. So I'm on volume 2. We're on chapter 12. We're at the hospital and we're trying to prevent Zatch's book from being burnt. Also, something I should say about the art style, I guess. It's funny that I always thought Zatch Bell was like a weird series because of the way like Zatch and like the demon puppet characters are drawn. And it's funny if you read the volume extras, the creator did not intend to draw those characters this way. He wanted to draw like big scary demons. But the editor for this series was like, maybe try drawing them cute. So there's a discussion to be had about the impact of the cute characters on the appeal of this series. Because in my experience anyway, it's kind of like put me off from reading this series. Not because I thought it would be bad, but I always thought it looked weird. Who is the emoji guy on screen? I thought it was you. Well, it's supposed to be me. Nice. So you've already met Brago. Yeah, Brago was the gravity character, right? He came off as like really intense. Not like a villain, just like intense. Maybe they wanted it to be cute for the sake of marketing and merchandise. That could be it. I also think with a shonen manga in the 2000s, they wanted it to be like more kid friendly, because if you have a series where like scary looking demons are fighting each other, it can come off as more mature or darker, I guess. That's Brago. Okay, sweet. Yeah, I it's early, but I feel like we haven't met any bad characters yet, which is good. That's a good sign. Okay, so they got Zatch's book back. The kid Yuta falls off the building, so Kiyomaru and Zatch Bell have to do something. I will say, while the art style is very like simple and stylized, the creator, whose name escapes me right now, they're clearly very talented. Like in a lot of these big panels and spreads, the art is gorgeous, as simple as it is. I wouldn't compare it to Shaman King necessarily. But this is very much like a 2000s manga, for sure. Excuse me. Justin Garcia in the chat. What's going on, Justin? Pleasure to have you. Started watching Dragon Quest Adventure of Dai anime. That's probably what I should have watched yesterday. I was looking, I needed something to watch to treat myself on Easter, and I couldn't think of Dragon Quest, but I watched a couple of movies. I should have watched Dragon Quest. I think a Dragon Quest rewatch is due soon. How are you liking it so far, Justin? I think it's to make sure that Zatch comes off more dopey. Yeah, that makes sense. Makoto Raikou. Okay, thank you. That's the series creator. I'm reading Usagoi. Shit's crazy. Yeah, I've heard a lot of things about Usagoi. I was actually surprised the author returned to Shogakukan, because at one point there was a fight between him and the publisher, as well as for them losing their color illustrations. I would have to look into that, because again, I'm completely brand new to the series and I don't really have any idea about the author or their relationship with Shogakukan. Gomei-chan needs to be protected at all times, bro, and I'm loving it so far. Gomei-chan is adorable. You said you're... Where are you in the story so far? Did you just watch the first episode? Isn't Hunter Hunter also pretty old? Hunter Hunter is like 2000 something, right? 1999? 1998. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, right? Like, Hunter Hunter does not feel like an old manga, right? So if you're calling manga like Shaman King, that's One Piece era right there. One Piece was like 1990 something, early 2000. So I don't know. I don't think you can call Big Three era manga old. So we're on chapter 13, A Moving Target. Zatch is climbing a bunch of trees. They're at the botanical garden. So he runs into somebody at the botanical garden. Kiyomaru says, long time no see. They seem to be teasing each other. Not really sure what the dynamic here is yet. Zatch says, who the heck are you? I'm Tsukishiki Kinuyama. I'm in charge here, and I'm friends with all the plants. Interesting. Zatch pops the question we're all wondering. How do you know Kiyomaru? She says, I know him real well. He'd skip school and come here back when he was being bullied. Everybody needs a place to run away to when things get bad. I really hope this character isn't about to get murked. This what's her name? Tsukishima? Tsukishiko? Tsukushi. Tsukushi is a chill character. One Piece started in 1997. My case exactly. Like, if you're gonna call Hunter x Hunter old, you have to call One Piece old. One Piece is long. I don't know if I would call it old, right? I think Big 3 era manga are at the very least the cutoff into like not old. I'm at episode 14, so Mom, I'm guessing, is now being held as hostage by one of Avan's former students. Yep, okay. Avan is such an interesting character. After I finish Dragon Quest, I'm gonna read the prequel manga. Well, don't forget there is, of course, the... Oh, I see. So yeah, you would read the prequel manga and then the actual manga. That makes sense. It's unfortunate what happened to Dragon Quest because they were doing pretty good about publishing new volumes of the manga in English, but they stopped after volume 5, which sucks. Anyway, so that in the garden, Kiyomaru noticed that some of the trees have been attacked. There's a character counting in Spanish. And he has a partner that looks suspiciously like a sea dot. So they attack Tsukushi with some root tentacle powered thingy. They save Tsukushi. Okay. We're good. Rio just subscribed. Thank you, Rio. Appreciate you. Welcome to the channel. Yeah, but it seems they have canceled releasing the volumes, I'm guessing because of not selling, which is a shame. Well, they don't have the anime pushing the manga anymore. It seemed very weird to start selling the manga and then stop like a third of the way into the series. I hope they do it again, but it is unfortunate. Like, if you want the series in English, really you can only get the first 5 volumes. I really hope the rest of the Zatch Bell anime series that's only in Japan will hopefully get an English dub. I tend to doubt it, but that would be interesting. Maybe if they bring back the anime, then they would go back and dub the old stuff. I don't know. Anyway, we are on chapter 14. These grass type characters have pissed off Kiyomaru and Zatch. So we're going to see what happens next. So they attack with basic lightning attacks. They cover up Tsukushi. So the grass demon character's name is Sugina or Sugina. I'm guessing Sugina. So they flank them and try to attack them that way. I will say, as much as Zatch kind of looks weird, the creator of the series does a really good job with the expressions, I should say, on Zatch's face. Like, when he gets intense, he genuinely looks intense. Obviously, he doesn't look scary because he looks like a doll, but he genuinely looks like pissed off, which is really cool. Is JoJo Part 6 ever getting English translation? Probably soon. Probably soon, with Steel Ball Run getting an anime. Excuse me. How much have I read on this of the series? We are on Volume 2, Chapter 14. So, not very much. Oh, excuse me, I've mixed up my JoJo parts. They've already translated Stone Ocean. Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I don't know if they finished, but they were doing it in English. So of course, Kiyomaru, being the cool dude that he is, rather than focusing on the fight, he's just dodging their attacks, and he is focusing on evacuating all of the people in the botanical garden, separating himself from all of these bad guy characters who just want to win the demon tournament. Have I read Nice Prison? No, I did not read it. I did not really see anyone say they liked it. I could be totally wrong, but I'll have to check it out. But just based on the impression I get, it doesn't seem like it'll last more than like 30 chapters. When he's silly, it makes you laugh. When he's intense, you know the moment is serious. It's because of how big his eyes are. Like, it can be weird, but when they do it right, it's like perfect. Just so I know, there's a Zatch Bell sequel. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, but I'll have to check that out as soon as I finish the first series. So this grass user explains to us that the demon children only have so many attacks that they can use before they run out. In a shock twist, Tsukushi steals the grass user's book, already proving that she is a badass. Yeah, the art in this series is really good. It's funny because it seems like such an oversimplified art style, but the spreads so far are awesome. I wouldn't say they're quite on the level of Shaman King, but they're right up there. They're in that same tier, I would say. The art is like crazy good. It's not like super detailed, but it's definitely visceral. So now we're on chapter 16. There's a new character, seems like a demon child. She's a little girl crying in the rain. Some girl comes and helps her. Cleans her up, puts her in PJs. They have a whole sister thing going on. She says, "What's your name?" Kolulu is her name. Lulu. I'm going to call her Lulu. Kolulu and Shiori. It gets better as it goes on. I mean, this is only chapter 16, so I can't wait to find out like what the art looks like after like chapter 100, and especially towards the end of the series. See, I already knew it. They had like a sister dynamic thing going on. Shiori and Lulu. Love it. Love that for them. So Zatch runs into Lulu at the park. All right, pardon me 1 second. I will be right back. All right, sorry about that, everyone. Just had to excuse myself for a quick second, but we're back. I like Lulu's character. Yeah, she seems like a cool character. Author really knows how to make us cry and laugh at the same time. You'll be crying at one page and in the second you'll be laughing your ass off. I hope so. That's kind of the vibe I get, is like this is a very lighthearted story, but it gets very emotional. So Zatch sees Lulu's doll and he immediately feels like, you know, like the poor kid at school who, you know, can't afford Lunchables. He's like, oh, my toy is just a juice box. That's awesome. Anyway, Shiori shows up and Lulu made her a tiara of flowers, which is adorable. We got Lucas in the chat. What's going on, Lucas? I started Zatch Bell. Yeah, I'm loving it so far. There's a sequel. Yep. I'm looking forward to starting the sequel. Are the chapters longer in the monthly release? Like, is it, I don't know, 30 pages a chapter? So, we find out that Shiori basically never sees her parents, so she wants to take care of Lulu so that she can have a real family, but she finds her book, she reads the spell in the book, and it inadvertently hurts a bunch of people. So if she reads the spell, she turns into a monster? Yeah, she turns into like the Wolverine, basically. She like completely flips out, goes full berserker mode. And of course, like Zatch, Lulu has basically no memory of what happened when she used her powers. So unfortunately, Shiori cast the spell again, but Kiyomaru and Zatch show up to stop Lulu. I will say their shield spell is pretty broken, being able to send attacks back. Bro, that doesn't even seem like a lightning themed attack. Like, I know they don't all have to be lightning attacks, but like the first attack is lightning bolt, and then the second attack is I have a wall. Like, what? That's ridiculous. I am curious to see how sophisticated the power system is in this series, seeing as how it relies so much on the fights. She can shoot her arms like Mega Man. That's pretty cool. So Zatch catches Lulu, who is crying in the middle of the fight. And now we're going to get some kind of emotional moment. Zatch realizes that this is the girl he met the day prior, and it doesn't make sense what's going on here. In a shock twist, Shiori jumps in front of Kolulu, takes an attack to the shoulder in an attempt to subdue her, and it seems to calm her down. So Kolulu is asking Zatch to burn her book so that she can't harm anyone ever again. Wait, did they burn the book? Wait a minute. What? No. You can't do that. I like Kolulu. So Kiyomaru says, Zatch, take a good look at her book. It's kind of odd. So he forces Zatch to use the Zakaru spell, which seems to burn the book. Is he Spider-Man or Deadpool? This is a Deadpool t-shirt. The shield spell is coated in lightning. I mean, I guess it still seems kind of broken. Oh my god, and that's how he ended volume 2. Oh my god. What? That's crazy. I have to find out what happens. Ordinarily, I would end the stream here, but I'm like dying to know what happens. Makoto Raikou, what a legend. If only we had a king, maybe we wouldn't have to fight in any of these terrible battles. Oh, what? So she's gone. Like, she's dead. When Kolulu was crying and then she was gone, that made me pretty upset. And then these weird clown-looking people show up. But they learned a third spell. Jikarudo. Nothing happened? So it's looking like Kolulu is like dead for good. At least her book is burned. Which is unfortunate. I was really hoping that dynamic was gonna go somewhere. Yeah, she's out of the story, but her impact is basically felt on Zatch from here on out. That's crazy. That was so crazy because they were getting set up to be like, you know, like really cool friends of Kiyomaru and Zatch. And it's just like, no, dead. That sucks. Well, this story is getting really good and it's only 2 volumes in. She's important more like for Zatch's development. Okay, that makes sense. Question, how many chapters part 1, like Chainsaw Man? It's like 300 chapters. It's over 300 chapters. And now we get Zatch's motivation for the rest of the series. Yeah, this story is going at a good pace. Volume 1 sort of establishes the basic premise. Volume 2 sort of fleshes out the dynamic between Kiyomaru and Zatch. And Volume 3 seems like it's going to flesh out the power system a bit. I don't know. How many volumes? I have no idea. Couldn't tell you. Where are we? That's just over an hour, so I'm gonna call it quits for today. Yeah, so I'm loving Zatch Bell. I think it's awesome. Look out for a video hopefully tomorrow. I gotta check with my editor. Definitely a video this weekend as well. And then we will stream Thursday. Thursday, of course, we'll be reading Marshall King, and then it'll probably be some kind of read-along stream, some kind of read-through stream. We'll have to see. But thanks, everybody. Thanks for making the Zatch Bell stream so fun. Had a lot of fun talking about Zatch Bell. Looking forward to catching up to the new series. But until then,